All right, welcome to the Explainer. You think you know what the word health means, right? Well, today we're going to take a fascinating trip back in time and see just how much that one simple idea has totally, completely transformed. So let me just start with this wild question. What if having a hot personality could literally, actually, give you a fever? I know it sounds completely crazy today, but for centuries, this was serious, legitimate medical thinking. Okay, let's get into it. Our story really kicks off way back in the ancient world, with a theory that pretty much dominated medicine for over 2,000 years. And what's so interesting is you see the same basic idea popping up everywhere, from the ancient Greeks, Hippocrates, all the way to the Indian Ayurveda system. Their whole way of thinking was, well, pretty wild. They believed the body was filled with these different fluids, which they called humors. So, for example, if you had too much of something called black bile, they figured that's what gave you a hot personality. And that specific imbalance, boom, that was the direct cause of fevers. So the crucial point is this. For them, health was all about balance, perfect harmony. Sickness was just your body being out of whack. And get this entire system wasn't built on experiments or scientific data. Nope. It was all based on what the source calls pure reflective thought. This was philosophy, not biology. And for century after century, that was the accepted wisdom. But then, things started to change. A real revolution kicked off. People started looking at the human body in a totally new way, not as some philosophical concept, but as an actual physical machine that you could study and measure. And when you look at the timeline of this shift, it's just staggering. I mean, look at that immense gap. Over 2,000 years passed between the humor hypothesis and William Harvey's discovery of blood circulation. And then you get these absolute game-changing inventions, like the thermometer, which for the very first time let doctors take real objective measurements. And once you have those tools, once you can actually test things, well, that old idea just completely fell apart. It was shattered. Scientists could finally demonstrate that, hey, people with this so-called black bile personality actually had a totally normal body temperature. And just like that, the good humor hypothesis was toast, officially disproven. So with that old theory out of the way, it opened the door for a brand new, much more nuanced understanding of health. One that goes way beyond just balanced fluids and into a much more, holistic view of what it means to be well. And here is where we landed, the modern definition. Health isn't just one thing, it's a state of complete, and that word is so important. Complete physical, mental, and social well-being. It's the whole package where all the different parts of your life are working together. It's just as crucial to understand what health isn't. It's not just the absence of disease. I mean, you can be free of a diagnosis and still not be healthy, right? And it's not just about physical fitness. You could be able to run a marathon, but if your mental or social well-being is suffering, you're not truly healthy. And what's so cool is that modern biology has kind of brought us full circle. We now know for a fact that the mind directly influences our physical health. It's done through our neural and endocrine systems, which then affect our immune system. So that ancient little inkling that the mind and body were connected, turns out they were onto something. They just had the why completely wrong. Okay, so if health is this big, all-encompassing state of well-being, then what are the modern forces that impact it? What's the battlefield where we fight for our health every single day? Broadly speaking, it boils down to three major areas, and they all carry a surprisingly equal weight. About a third is our genetics, a third is infections, and that last third is our lifestyle. And really, this is the central tension of modern health, isn't it? The constant interplay between the things we can't control and the choices we absolutely can. So let's just break those down real quick. First, you've got genetic disorders. That's the hand you're dealt from birth. Second, you have infections, diseases you catch from the world around us. And third, and this one is a big one, is your lifestyle. That's all the daily choices we make about food, rest, exercise, and our habits. And the diseases themselves fall into two main camps. You have infectious diseases, like AIDS, which get transmitted between people and can be fatal. And then you have non-infectious diseases, like cancer, which you can't catch but are still a major cause of death. Both are obviously serious threats to our health. So with all these different factors in play, what can we actually do? Well, the good news is a huge part of our health is within our control. So let's talk about your personal toolkit for well-being. The foundation of our health is built on these core habits. And look, I know we hear this stuff all the time, but its importance can't be overstated. We're talking about a truly balanced diet, consistent personal hygiene, and of course, regular exercise. And it's interesting, the source also highlights yoga as a really powerful practice for boosting both physical and mental health. Beyond our personal habits, we can be proactive. This is about being informed, knowing about diseases, and getting vaccinated. But it's also about community-level action, like making sure waste is disposed of properly and controlling disease vectors, like mosquitoes. It's about creating a healthy environment not just for us, but for everyone.
And finally, a really crucial warning from our source material. We just can't talk about health without acknowledging that drug and alcohol abuse have a profoundly negative effect on every single aspect of our well-being.
So we've journeyed from a simple idea of balanced humors to this complex, rich definition involving physical, mental, and social well-being. Our understanding of health has completely transformed. It really makes you wonder, what will health even mean 100 years from now?